Yeah, I could always edit it. So we'll start it whenever we say we start it. But is there anything you want to, a heads up, like anything you want to talk about before that I could maybe look up if you wanted? I have some stuff here that we could talk about.
Yeah, we'll just free ball it. We'll go from wherever you go with, or whatever I go with.
All right, all right,
Finish.
all right.
We'll
All right,
start
so we'll
off.
start it like last time. You start off. All right, go.
All right. Oh, sorry, recording. All right.
Yeah,
So
sorry. Yeah, we're live.
from last time, if you guys don't remember, my name is Dr. Conejo, and I'm here with Whistling Beardo, and we're just, you know, doing this podcast for fun right now. Um, and
This is
right
episode
now,
2, right? You wanna? What episode is this? Right, episode 2
this is gonna be episode two, I guess, part two of
for sure.
last episode. What we're titling "Intro to My Sexiness." So
Hmm.
it's one thing we we really didn't do last time around was really kind of like give a real introduction to like how, why I mean like we already know why we doing this,
Hmm.
but like how do we come together? It's just like as co-hosts, you know.
Yeah.
So um, let's start off with you, dude. I mean, you're whistling Beardo. I mean, you already have you know some type of fan base, people who already know you for what you do,
Yeah.
from photography to
Yeah. I got a little.
from
Yeah, I got.
music, you know.
Yeah, I got a little or I got a little. I guess you could say following, online following of people that I've accumulated over the years, just because I've been posting online and I'm heavily opinionated online. So I guess people either disagree or agree, but at the end of the day, I just try to have a conversation with most people, I guess, and try to get information that I don't have, and you know, so I guess that's accumulated to what it is now, and basically I'm able to share my art with people, with my photography, now that I'm doing music, with the videos and everything, so
I'm just
uh,
letting people know right now.
yeah.
When he means opinionated, he is very strongly opinionated with
Oh
people.
yeah, very.
Yeah, because I'll tell you this. Lately, people, I've been loving the fact of trolling him because this is something Whistling Beardo does himself. He loves to troll other people himself just to see
Yeah.
what he can get out of
Well,
people. But
on the
I mean, there's
subject.
nothing
Okay,
wrong
go
with
ahead.
it.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
there's nothing wrong with it. But it's healthy. I
I
mean,
just wanna kind of I wanna try to take away the word troll. Because the word troll has had or the word troll, I guess, doesn't have a serious connotation to it. I don't really care too much about the I guess the word I like to use more is devil's advocate. You know, that's, I guess, the more professional term to use, I guess you could say.
I
But
don't
because
know, people. I don't know,
trolling would
people.
be
You
trolling would be
if
just for fun, or trolling would be I don't even know. Trolling would be like what does a troll do? Okay, because a troll was a creature, right, in mythic time that lived under a bridge, and he would charge people to cross, right?
all right, we go into someone
Oh, we're going to somewhere.
mythical terms for it. But I mean, if once again, if you're a part of his fan base and you see me pop up around, or you see someone like me pop up, I'll probably change my probably make a another Facebook page or whatever social
Yeah,
media that I think is fit to sincerely dedicate to Dr. Conejo, this alias. You'll probably see me do a lot of trolling, and I mean, in that sense, what you think of it, I mean, I think is just what the word means. Trolling is
yeah,
you antagonize people based off their opinions or something, just to see what you can get out of them. Either it's going to be positive and negative, whatever way how you want to take it.
yeah.
Um, I mean, I've done it pretty much today a lot, which actually I've been doing it 2 days in a row, which I've been having fun with it. Hoping
Yeah.
it's not too personal between
No,
us.
no, no, no.
But
It's
if I
not.
think if I think it was too personal, I don't even think we'd be doing this right now. I'd
Yeah,
be
no,
like
for sure.
fuck you, I'm not doing this shit. Take your
Yeah, no,
ass home.
no, for sure. And there's some healthy topics, that we can talk about. You say you want you is there you want to start? There was some. You want to talk about Kanye West
No, actually, screw
or?
all that noise for now. Like I said, I definitely want to let people know who we are and what we
Oh, for
come
sure.
because I think that's one of the things that a lot of these people they jump on, they do a podcast. First thing they forget is like they do it
Introduction.
for yeah. Like I mean, I think most people have lost their way of like trying to relate with people, you know,
Yeah.
and I
This.
think
Yeah.
these medias like this is to escape in whatever shape or form.
Yeah.
And at the end of the day, the whole thing between me and you and doing this podcast is that we are two different people and we definitely don't share the same ideas, but the whole idea is just the friendship behind it that keeps us going. And with everything that's going on in this world, from with people thinking of, with the presidential elections, with the leadership of our president, to this virus thing that's going on, people are so, and the things going on with the police and Black Lives Matter. And if you want to believe in all lives matter, depending on how you muster all this shit,
Yeah.
at the end of the day, between us, we basically showing, hey, we have two different ideals,
Hmm.
but we still want to show that we are we're two guys that
Yeah. You want to show? Yeah.
mutually care about each other, and we're not going to be sticking a gun or a knife to each other's head or throat at the end of it because of that. And I think this is what's wrong with what's going on in our country right now.
Hmm.
People just don't let an idea be for what it is. They want to force it down your throat,
Yeah.
or they don't want to come to some kind of common ground and be like, yeah, you know what, I can see that. I
I
don't have
think
to agree with it, but I can see that. But
to
yeah,
add on to what you're saying, it's definitely thing something where I guess people aren't don't or I don't want to accuse anybody of not knowing how to have a conversation, but like that's what it is where it's like the conversation doesn't happen, and then it ends up leading to conflict, or what ends up happening is you have conversations on the side or conversations behind people's backs that ends up leading to more problems. Um, and
no, we don't want to do that shit.
no, no,
We
yeah, yeah.
we
No, but
we
I
don't
guess
want to do that, and we
I'm
and we don't
explaining.
want to promote
I'm
it.
explaining
So
in the political way. Like that's what ends up happening when when you have politicians that don't speak properly. You have basically all these politicians that sit down and then like you're saying, we got to be the example. And what the example is the fact that we're able to sit down, have a conversation, and still exit the conversation the way that we entered the conversation. And I think a lot of the adults now that are in power, especially, don't have that skill. A lot of the people that are in power specifically right now, they have this pride behind their I guess their words, and even behind their mistakes, where they don't want to I don't know, I guess acknowledge or correct. But yeah. So
yeah,
you
it's
wanted to go into like getting to know us, right? Or you what specific, or you want to go first, or?
yeah, and I mean that sums it up on that front, kind of like on the real on just how real we're being with people.
Hmm.
So once again, all this shit is opinion based from how we see things. I
Yeah.
don't want to use too much on how we feel about things because that's where the problem starts. And there might be some facts and shit might not be completely 100% correct. But like I said, challenge us, talk to us, let us know if you don't agree with something, or spit your 2 cents or how you see it, and we can have that conversation if people want to throw down comics or whatever, because this is basically what we're doing with each other. Um, but yeah, you're probably asking, probably like, what's the fuck? What the fuck is the purpose of all this? I mean, the purpose of it is, like I said, a sense of harmony with one another,
Yeah.
because we don't see enough of it today. And I'll tell you this, from my side, I'll spit my name out there, because I got nothing to hide right now. Like, my name is John, like the mustard. Um, thing is, with Limberto, if you don't mind me using your real
Yeah.
name, Benny.
Yeah. Go. Yeah. Go ahead. Go ahead. I don't. Yeah.
I mean, I met this dude in junior high, and I think it was funny how I met this dude. and you basically running from a bunch of gangbangers looking for protection.
Yeah.
I thought it was funny. I thought it was funny as hell because I mean, as I got to know you over the years, and like your smart ass mouth can get you in some trouble, but it's just who you are, and it's what characteristics you to Benny to Whistling Real or to whatever you what you do, not whatever, but what you do best. And you know
Yeah.
what? Regardless to me meeting you in high school and I mean junior high in that fashion, kind of basically hit it off because I mean we ended up finding out we were taking the same, but we were bused to junior high,
Yeah.
and we basically took the same bus. I mean, we knew we didn't really know we were taking the same bus until then,
True.
and it's just this friendship that kind of manifests from there, just kind of bullshitting and doing things. I mean, we knew we were into certain
Yeah.
stupid things,
We
like
had
from wrestling to
similar interests. Yeah.
Pokemon and all that other shit
Yeah.
that
I remember the
most junior
Yu-Gi-Oh
high
cards.
kids, yeah. Um, And I think that's what it was. And as time progressed, I mean, we kind of stuck with each other in that sense where I was kind of indoctrinated in.
Hello. Uh oh. Uh oh. Uh oh. Uh oh. Uh oh. Did we lose connection? Hope we didn't lose connection. Uh oh. Uh oh. Uh oh. Did we lose connection? Did we lose connection? Hello. 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 Hello.
Um,
You were saying before
sorry
we
about
met.
sorry about that. Just to clarify, so I don't care. It's just our daycare lady for my 1 year old. As I guess she called me just right now. I wasn't expecting a call from our daycare
At
lady
10:30. Yeah.
at 10:30, so that's why it just cut real quick. I kind of like left the conversation real quick. But the situation with her is that she was just letting me know that she was feeling kind of somewhat sick today, and she felt like it just progressed more as of the day went on.
Oh.
So that's concerning, especially
Yeah.
when everything's going on. Um, it's perfect and in its own way to speak about the matter. And it's not perfect if something happens,
Yeah.
but to
Yeah.
speak about the matter. But anyways,
No, I feel you.
she
Yeah.
doesn't know. She doesn't know how she's feeling, so she's not taking any kids, and she's just reaching out to the parents. So we don't know. She's going to the doctor. She's going to see some stuff, and
Yeah.
maybe and hopefully she pans out okay. And that's why I said for now. It's some weird times, especially with COVID. It
Yeah.
might be a hoax to many. Might as many people will say it's a hoax or it's a fucking invert. It's just a fucking flu, which I disagree with it.
What do you? What do you?
Um,
I mean, that will say that for another episode. But go ahead.
um, but I'm just seeing too many people around me in my circle that's being affected, and I think it's only a hoax and not real, and it's just a flu to people who
Yeah.
really have not been affected by it, and
Do you wanna?
that's
You
just
wanna?
it.
You wanna? You wanna try to? You don't have to. Get into too many details. But I mean, if you wanted to paint a picture on how it has affected some people. I mean, you could do that because I mean, some people truly haven't seen anything or haven't felt.
You know what? Drawing away from what we were talking about this introduction to us,
Sure. 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 My
this
fault.
main topic. I would say I got a coworker at work.
Uh,
He he's an interesting dude. I mean, you can have a conversation with him just like we can.
uh-huh.
Most people right now, they're like, I like how people say people are making COVID or just a political thing,
Hmm.
and I agree. People are, and you can't help but doing it. But at the same time,
Hmm.
what what have we not done in this world that doesn't have any type of political standards to it? Because what the whole thing about a political stand is basically views how things should be done, and that's
Yeah.
just what it is.
Yeah.
And the thing is, I have a coworker, and we're having this conversation when I first started going back to work a couple months ago. Um, it was like in the middle of May. My coworker, I found out he was still working, and he had this conversation with me about it. And for him, um, it's great because he tells me he kind of thinks it's bullshit. He still thinks it's bullshit today. I had an interesting conversation with him and another coworker that is basically like the polar opposite. Oh, I think it's bullshit. Oh, I don't think it's bullshit. Look at this. Look at that. Look at that. And I kind of like just sat there, like therapy style, and I just listened and I just kind of threw it out there. And it was just interesting because no one tore each other apart afterwards, and I kind of seen it on both hands. And like going into it, my coworker explained to me a couple months ago. He was like, he thinks this COVID thing, it's an emergency, but not an emergency. And I'm
Yeah.
like,
That's how I see it.
I like I like that choice of words, and that's how you see it. And I feel like, why do you say that? And why do you say that? And he's just like, well, because I know it's something going on, hypothetically,
Yeah.
his doubts. Then at the same time, I don't. Then at the same time, but I haven't experienced anything to know that it's an emergency. So like it is an
Yeah.
isn't. But I'm like, yeah, that's true. So basically, you're saying it's bullshit to you because you haven't experienced or had anybody in your
Any
circle
direct,
that's
any,
been it,
yeah,
that's in it. Then at the same time, it's not and it's affecting your life because it takes you out of your norm. And this is why I think a lot of people are mad about wearing the mask thing, or people don't want to. Then people make it political, and they be like, well, my fucking rights. Hey, I'm not going to disagree with you. Yeah, there's some rights that are being infringed on, but the question is, are they completely being taken away? And I think that's when people, a lot of ignorancy come in and just be like, well, they're taking it away. Well, no, they're not quite taking it away, but it's it's a different state of
yeah.
well being, of what kind of
Well,
situation we're in.
yeah. I mean, we're. I mean, I don't know if you wanted to get into that topic because I mean, there's some things that could be said about the mask. Because you're saying I forgot what you said right now. That I was just gonna point out that oh yeah, because you were saying that the masks aren't really shutting anybody up. Um, and I mean, metaphorically, I would just assume that in the Middle East, that women are used or the women are told to cover up for two reasons. One so that so that I guess they're respected more from men, so that they don't get to see like the women's bosoms and all their their skin and all that. But in a way, there is a statistic, and it has been proven that this is why there has been suppression of women's rights there because they cover their mouth, and there's no way to. It limits the talk, it limits the voice, it limits the everything, and on top of that, there is a psychological effect that it leaves on people um, when you can't see somebody's facial expressions. We as humans, one of the biggest things the difference that makes us from a chimpanzee to a human is that we judge each other by facial expressions a lot of the times. Um, when we like it's a or I'm sorry, that's not how we that's not how we are different from chimpanzees. 'Cause I'm sure chimpanzees use facial expressions too, but there are a certain breed of animals that don't use facial expressions. I mean, dogs use expressions in some way, right? They use their tails, and humans are just using the other end of their body, their head. If you see me, wagging my head, it's disbelief, and if you see me like nodding my head, it's approval, so there is some psychological effect to the mask, which is why I believe it is a little political. Um,
Well, the thing is, for what you're saying, you're talking about a culture. You're talking about a culture versus safety
yeah, of
that people
course,
think.
of
And the thing
course.
is, it's like
Which
that's the
is the
Middle
mask,
East.
which is also why the mask went culturally. If you think about it, right now, who's selling masks? The culture is. Let's be real. Nobody's buying a mask from the United States or from a government or from a medical office. Everybody's buying a mask from the culture. So the mask itself is a culture statement.
I don't think so. You're confusing a lot of things right now. I
No?
sincerely think you're talking about what people do in the Middle East, and
Yeah.
that's a culture. We have no control over what they do over in the Middle East. They want to treat their women like shit. They want to treat their women like shit.
Yeah.
These are and this is what I mean. This is one of the topics where I agree that whatever liberations or whatever uprising needs to happen, it has to be within them, and they
Correct.
have to be the ones to advocate for themselves. Now it's fucked up that women have to be treated that way there.
Mhm.
I'm not. I don't. I know and I know it's a religious thing for some people, for some cultures too, but it's not fucking completely torturing. It's just a thing of what they do. And I can say this: how does a person in the Middle East, let's say a woman, or
Mhm.
in that they wear all that shit around them, and you're in like fucking triple digit
Mhm.
fucking
Mhm.
temperatures, and that just throws out a great example of like, man, these are people out there that they dress this way based off their culture and what they're being done, and you don't hear them bitch. They might bitch about the oppression of their people and their culture between their governments or whatever.
On the
That's this
contrary,
thing.
well, I will say this: I don't hear them. You're right. I don't hear them bitch about them not being able to breathe, but I have heard them bitch. I don't want to name any people specifically, but I have one friend specifically who, every time, I love talking to her about these things because she actually came from Syria when they had the uprising in 2013, I think.
Mm.
So um, they were talking about, or she was talking about just how like they don't have no rights out there, and specifically for women, it's harder to get like the men out there for sure are sexist, and there's no laws against it. There's no like yeah, they're giving women rights, but it's far. And I guess maybe it's a thing that's gonna take time. Maybe I mean, the people can't expect that just because you abolish. Like I understand when the day that slavery ended, I hardly doubt that like within hours slaves were freed. Like it's gonna take like maybe a day or two. Maybe some time in order for it to like everybody get the news. Um, so I mean, women are getting rights, in the Middle East, but it's taking a while for it to actually reach every corner, and it's going to take a minute to get all the bad people out of power so that you can keep, you know,
But this is my question
yeah.
because I mean, not to be an asshole. I feel like you're gonna
Oh,
go
go ahead.
on and on, and
Oh, I know.
this is what and this is the distraction comments and off-brand stories like references like that really has nothing to do with the situation at hand. Now the question
Okay.
is, these are just what people go through on a cultural level of shit in a different country or based off religion. That's totally thing. Now this question is about wearing a
So,
mask
but
here
so,
in the United
uh-huh.
States. Hold on, here in the United States through a pandemic that majority is where people are half and half. It's bullshit and it's not bullshit because of a system where it hasn't affected certain people directly
Mhm.
or without without looking at the real repercussions of it, and another handful of people who are affected from it and they're seeing loved ones be get go through hardship through it, from medical to financial stance
Mhm.
of it. I don't understand how that links up with the rights. I mean, you're saying it's metaphorically, but I think it's just a distraction to really look at it on why people are so fucking childish about a
Well,
situation that's supposed to help out.
if
It's
if
like, look,
it's a
I know
different
it's your
topic.
right.
Uh-huh.
I know it's your right. If you want to wear a mask, don't wear a mask. And yeah, we're in the United States of America. supposedly we're infringing on our rights. But you know what? Once again, it's not fucking permanent. But once you begin to start see these things become permanent, yeah, you know what? Damn right. Start fighting against it.
Well,
Start doing what you need to do to feel like your rights are not going to be completely taken
yeah.
away. But there's a different, and I don't think people want to take a look that there's a global situation going on. It's not one fucking spot. It's a global situation of things going
No, it
on.
is. It is one spot.
And how is that?
How, well, because
Because
you
I
can.
don't think COVID-19 just all of a sudden just came out of the water, but like, you know
No,
what?
no,
We're just
no.
gonna
But
fuck with this country.
right now it's concentrated in the United States. So you can argue that it's only one spot.
No, it's not.
Um,
And this is a conversation I've had with my coworkers. One of
yeah.
my coworkers is from Brazil, and it's funny when she's like, you know, Trump and the Brazilian president are like two peas in a pot.
Yeah.
And the thing is, and it's interesting because these are two countries. We are two countries
Mhm.
neck and neck that are just having issues with COVID. So
Mhm.
I don't think it's just something factual. But why is it two countries with two presidents who share similar ideals and similar ways in dealing with the people having the same issue? I mean, explain that
Um.
versus
I
versus
mean,
as
uh,
versus other countries that
I'm not
are
sure. I'm not sure.
kind of
Uh huh.
still dealing with it but
Uh huh.
are not dealing with it due to different precautions they took. Because I had this conversation with a coworker, and like I told my other coworker that it was like it's an emergency, but it's not. And I told him Trump made this comment about why can't we open up schools and do what people like in countries like Sweden and Germany is doing. Well, you can't. That's Germany. That's Germany, and that's Sweden. We can't model ourselves. It's funny because other countries are like trying to model themselves after America because that's what they want to be. But it's funny to see European countries who supposedly wanted to model themselves based off of us
Mm.
do things differently. As people call them socialist, liberal countries, where we're supposed to be this fucking capitalist country.
Mm.
Um, and democracy and all that shit. And I just feel like it's more fucking capitalism than democracy because no one wants to work
Yeah.
together on creating something. How can we open up our schools when we have more things arising versus these people who are on lockdown a little bit more than we were? They were more strict. Here it is, fucking Italy and Spain who were really hit hard with this, and
Mhm.
it's not fucking factual. These are people who are literally dying. But I'm not saying they didn't have problems because they did have their people who did think it was bullshit too. They were like, I'm going out for a fucking run. I'm gonna do things. But I would say that these people they had fines, they were put in jail, and et cetera, et cetera. But regardless to this big harsh, you gonna do this?
Mhm.
These people out there in Europe are like, we enjoying our summer. They got situations in man fucking Paris, France, Paris. Fucking people out there enjoying their summer, man. I know
Yeah.
people want to enjoy their summer here, but I think people are too fucking ignorant to work together to make something happen. These are people out there in different countries that in Europe that literally looked at it for what it was worth and tried to do the best thing possible, and they're fucking rewarded with it. There's less cases, hell of a lot less cases out there,
Yeah. Well,
and
just I mean, you've been on a little
and they're
tangent, and I
they're
just want to throw out some numbers out there. I just want to point out that there are so far right now an estimated 7.5 million humans that have globally recovered from this virus. Out of the 13 million that have been diagnosed with this virus, half are alive today.
but you know why?
I just want to
Based
point
off
out.
of what I've literally just said.
Well,
No,
I don't
literally,
know. I don't know. I just want
it's
to point out
based off of
numbers.
literally. Yeah, you putting down numbers. Maybe it's right, maybe it's
What
not.
I'm saying, no,
In a sense of
I'm looking at the John Hopkins map of COVID-19. It's a like a professional map. These are the ones that the CNN uses and all the professionals use. What the question? Here's my concern with this virus right now, because the numbers that I think that you're reporting, because I do see the numbers that you're talking about. You know, Brazil is definitely high in this, um, but the numbers that you're talking about have been recorded since March, and we're looking at how many active cases we have currently. And
How
if we
many
look at
active cases? Give me some European countries. How many active cases are out
hold on,
there?
whoa, you're being specific now. All right, let me look in Europe because I'm just looking at
I'm
global.
a, I'm a, I'm gonna be Pacific because the
Yeah,
president was Pacific. He was
yeah.
specific. He wants to
Now,
model why
what
we don't do what they don't do. Is because they
what
do shit
Europe
different.
is there a? Let me see if I can change the filter on this. But it says free. Maybe can I click on this? Because I would just click on a European country that you want. We can go with United Kingdom if you want.
Hey, do France, do France, Paris,
France.
because I want to use that as the best example because they legitly just opened up their Disneyland compared to the
Okay.
Disneyland in Florida was just opened up and motherfuckers
So
is skyrocketing cases.
France had a total of 210 confirmed up until today.
God
Um,
damn.
but but you should be proud to know that of those 210, 80,000 have recovered. So there was only about 110
I'm not worried. I'm not
deaths.
worried about
Now, one thing,
recoveries. The
yeah.
recovery is one thing,
Now one
but I need
another
to know about the
now
cases
now hold on. Now let me put
because
a
hold
you
on
know
right
those
quick because there's a
things.
new factor that's
Yeah.
being put into this variable for the recoveries, and I'll explain that later because the best example is that guy from fucking Hamilton, and he just died.
Hmm. I just want
I'm
to put
not.
a
But yeah, go ahead.
I just want to
But
put also a
they got repeat the cases from France as of today, as of this week so far.
uh-huh.
That's is just the country itself,
We talk
or is
right.
that the
No,
cases that?
the country has 210 confirmed case or 210,000 cases confirmed from up until, and that's the thing, from the time that it started till today. And
Okay,
and out of those numbers, 80,000 have recovered. And one of those things that I was going to say about the numbers that I'm talking about, in
so
astrology,
there
or
was
oh,
and what
can
you're
I
saying
say
based
one?
off those
Can I
numbers.
say one
Hold
thing
on,
real quick? Okay, go ahead.
go ahead.
One thing that I'm going to say real quick. These
Yeah.
numbers are fluctuated, and it's giving us a notice at the bottom that due to the corona, because I guess everybody who's dying right now is being classified as corona. So just an example, my father who has a heart condition, who the doctor said would not make it past this year, okay? The doctor told him, this year your heart will give out. Your heart is only going to give you about 3 to 4 more years, and this was about 5 years ago. The doctors keep telling him, like, this is the year, this is the year. They told him, this year when you die, on your obituary it's going to say COVID. So he's now a number to this, even though he's dying from a heart attack. I'm just throwing that statistic out there. So anybody who dies this year, I'm sorry, but Beyonce had a better album and they died from COVID-19. So I'm sorry for whatever. If you die from gunshots, I'm sorry. COVID-19 is why you died. Which is why I'm saying
I'm
that
gonna.
this has turned into a political.
I think that's bullshit. That's why I'm running. I had a feeling you were gonna come up with that, and this is why I bring up the guy from Hamilton
Uh huh.
for that same simple reason you're coming at with this. And the thing is, the guy from Hamilton. Now, your
Yeah.
dad is a different situation because your dad literally has a
Correct.
preconditioned situation. And the thing is, if he was to catch COVID, it's a wrap.
It's what?
It's a wrap. It's a wrap. I love your dad, but he's
Yeah.
gone.
Yeah.
Or
Facts.
miraculously, maybe
Facts.
he might.
You're spitting
Me
facts
being
right now.
me being optimistic, maybe he might, but it won't. But
No, you're spitting
if and if he
facts.
even if he does survive somewhat, he will have some repercussions
Yeah,
behind
the
it.
man the man just got
And
diagnosed also with stage 4 coronary cancer, by the way, like a couple months ago. So He's not
It's a
making it.
wrap.
Yeah, it's
I'm
a
sorry.
wrap.
I
That's
love
fine.
your father.
Yeah. Go ahead.
I
No,
wouldn't try to
continue.
be
No,
sympathetic, but
go
it
ahead.
sucks.
Continue though.
I'm really sorry, dude. It's fuck. Thanks for letting me know that. That's something I didn't know.
Yeah.
Your problem. Um, wow.
But like I said, I mean, he's gonna be another number to COVID, no matter what. If the colon cancer
That's
kills him,
that's
he's gonna be COVID. If the heart attack
that's
kills him,
that's
it's COVID.
that's totally true. I'm gonna say most likely that's gonna be true.
Yeah.
But I was saying with the dude about Hamilton. Now he
Are you
had
talking
COVID.
about? Are you talking about? And I'll bleep this name out. Are you talking about Delilah's brother?
My brother.
Do you
The fuck is
remember?
that?
Do you remember? Oh God, I'm gonna have to bleep a lot of names here. Do you remember Karina? Right, my ex.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay. You remember Karina had a group of friends? Stephanie, Anna. There was a girl in that group called Delilah.
Okay.
Her brother died from COVID. He went to. He went to Hamilton. I don't know if that's him. Who died from Hamilton that you know?
Dude, I was talking about the stage play.
The what?
I was talking about the stage play.
Oh, you're talking about the actual stage play?
Yeah.
Oh, I thought you were talking about somebody who died from Corona. Never mind.
He
There was a kid.
see
There was
the
a kid
thing.
at Hamilton that died from Corona. I thought you were talking about him.
I understand that, and I have somebody in our circle that's affected.
Yeah, my fault.
Um, the guy from Hamilton. I know they classified it that he died from corona. He did
Yeah,
and he didn't, and this is where you're right. They are making it political. He did and he didn't.
yeah,
Now, he had preconditions of being a pre-diabetic.
yeah,
So after he did catch corona and he did recover from it. It left him with some complications because his immune system is basically drained. Now,
yeah,
I'll tell you a personal experience from me. And I have two scares. I mean, we're not out the woods because I do the essential things I need to do in my life, from going to work to provide for my family.
yeah,
And we also go to the grocery stores and get shit, you know, or get food or whatever, do the essential things and take our kid to daycare because we just have to.
yeah,
Due to pandemic or not, these are things we have to do. And it's something me and my wife has come to a point where it's like, we got to catch it through that. you know, that's something we got to deal with. It sucks, but yeah, it's something we got to deal with because we have to continue to live. And I don't blame people for that, and I commend them. You do have to live. You still have to provide and do your thing.
yeah.
Um, but in this sense, this guy, he was pre-diabetic. After the fact, it left him his immune system weak, and I'm gonna get into my story about what I think I experienced, and it straight out pushed the guy like fuck being pre-diabetic. It's like he ended up being full blown diabetic. His whole system was all fucked up, out of whack,
Yeah.
and they end up amputating a body part from this guy due to it. This dude's not been diabetic, but once you get to the diabetic zone and you can't do certain things, you're getting shit chopped off
Yeah.
and you're losing functions of your body. Then he just went through a series of other medical issues after the fact. And now you can classify this dude as not dying from COVID, but most likely you're right and make it a political thing, even more so because of what's going on with shit.
Yeah.
And I'll tell you this: Trump has to blame for that in his own sense. If he was more fucking sympathetic in his own way, I know the dude tells it how it is in his perspective,
I'm gonna
but
blame another Republican for it, but I'm not gonna blame Trump. Trump didn't make it political. I think Trump was trying to ignore coronavirus. In fact, I think Trump was trying to downplay it completely. Like he was just
well,
trying to ignore it. And then I
once
think
once
people
again, that's
turned it.
that's 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 totally his fault. And the thing is,
I think the one that
dude,
made it political was Arnold Schwarzenegger when he came out and he was the first politician that said coronavirus is not political. It's like wait. He said this in like March and it was like wait a minute. No one said it was political. And
no,
then he was
not
like
one person made
and
it.
he was the
Not one
first one
person.
and he was the first one that said it, and we are like, okay, maybe it is political if they're telling us it's not political. You know, you got Arnold Schwarzenegger, the person who made acting political, is telling us that coronavirus is not political. I don't know. It seemed like the worst person to tell us that it's not political.
Well, well, the people made it political, and this goes back to a commander in chief, our president.
Yeah,
I'm sorry, dude. I'm not a fan of Obama. I tell people this. I'm a Republican. I'm a conservative Republican. You know,
yeah,
but the thing is, people kind of cringe and they look at me, or they're surprised, or they're not surprised based off of how my views are. But I tell a person, no, I'm not jumping on the bandwagon. Either you looked at me stupid, but that's just not me. I don't like someone, or I don't think that person fits the agenda of what I think I believe in. I'm not
hmm
going to support it. I'll look at it the way it is and be on my way. And I don't think Trump supports that on what I believe in at all.
yeah,
But he is the president. He does what he did. I mean, the dude's president for a reason because people voted him in office. But the thing is, I don't know, he wasn't my choice, and damn for sure Hillary wasn't my choice. But regardless to it, I'm not like most. I'm gonna say it, dumbass, hardcore Republicans that just voted just to vote without a train of thought. It brings me back to being in high school when I was able to vote for the first time, while Obama was spewing his hope and dream campaign, and I was hated for the comments I used to make in high school, especially in government
hmm
class. And I used to tell people, how are you so hyped up about voting for someone because of the color of their skin without really saying, I'm going to vote for this dude because I agree with his policies and I agree with what he's going to contribute to this country, what he's going to do?
hmm
None of that shit was factored in. It was a bandwagon thing. It was the
yeah,
hype train to put in. And you call me racist if you want. I'm not racist. I'm a black. You ever see me? I'm black, dude. I mean,
yeah,
my skin tone is black, but I'm a mutt. I can tell you everything I'm
mm,
fucking made out of. But
yeah,
in the situation to it, it's just I looked at a lot of people like, if you're gonna vote for this dude, vote for Obama because he stands for what you believe in. Vote.
yeah,
I'm not gonna say I was a McCain dude either, but hey, I made a lot of mistakes. I made a lot of mistakes on how I see things politically, but I think I've grown from it and I'm smarter about how I see things. It might not be what everybody else agree with,
yeah.
but all I'm saying is
I mean, the good thing is I never
don't
voted
don't
for
be a
Trump in
sheep.
the primaries, so it's not like he was my first Republican choice. But then when it came down to him and the what they call her, the killster, obviously the Donnie was gonna win. I was like, come on, you telling me that it's like you want McDonald's or Burger King. I mean, come on, it's an obvious choice. I'm not gonna choose Burger King. I'm gonna choose McDonald's. Um, so I mean,
That was the thing.
now
I tell you,
now
when the
now
elections came
when it
on,
was the
I voted for
conversation, yeah,
I voted for fuck whatever that dude name is, Bush brother. Even though Bush Bush helped us go into a fucking recession. Bush Jr. Helped put this country
yeah,
in a recession before Obama came into office. I'm like, yeah, but I was a Bush person. Yeah, maybe I was stupid for it. Maybe I wasn't. I don't know. But I hold myself against it.
yeah,
But no, I totally. I just feel like there's a lot of people who don't see things for what it's worth. I mean, this is person I know.
hmm
She what's a she found out that their family's straight up Republican. They're voting for that party no matter what their views are. They don't give a fuck if it's wrong or right. It's a
hmm
fucking win. And I asked this person, I'm like, let's say you vote for Trump, right? She's like, yeah. And my question is, you believe in gay rights, you believe in women rights, you believe in all that shit. This dude is like, he can give two fucks. He hasn't straight out. I'm gonna say this because this is where I think shit doesn't really get seen correctly or addressed correctly. He might not have said it directly. He don't support it, but certain laws and bills and things that are being avoided. kind of spells it out on the wall. And I just told this person, so you're cool with all this shit. You're cool with gay people not being in the military and all this shit and all that. That he passes bills like this, but you have gay friends and you support gay people.
Hmm.
No, I'm not about that. Now my question is, then why did you vote for? Why are you supporting someone that quite don't see that on that level?
Hmm.
Well, it's because my family's Republican. Really? Really? You're a fucking sheep. That's not a real reason. It's just you go into the slaughterhouse just to be slaughtered. If you're gonna go
Yeah.
to the slaughterhouse to get slaughtered, have a reason to get slaughtered and accept it. But if you are not, if you don't, and you know you're not that sheep getting ready to get slaughtered, then fucking go the other direction. Like that cow knew what was happening. That cow, there was a story about a cow seeing that all the fucking cows are getting slaughtered. For some reason, it clicked in that fucking cow mind, and that cow decided to get out the assembly line, jump over that fucking fence.
Yeah.
But anyways, to it, going back to everything. God damn it, dude. That's just how I felt about people voting for Obama and all that stuff back then in high school because I think they were just stupid. Now, regardless to it, Obama is what he is. But I'll tell you this. I think Obama was full of shit in a lot of things he did. He was just, and then we had this conversation before. Um, he he didn't. He kind of knew what to say to the people, and that was this dude's gift. He knew how to lure people in and make them feel comfortable about stuff, even though shit wasn't completely all right, and he did his thing.
Hmm. Oh.
Oh, I'm sorry, distracted. You know things.
He knew how to. I mean, you're right. He didn't know
He
how to
he,
talk to
he
people.
even knew with certain things to go. And like, dude, I tell people this when people are like,
He was a
"Well,
man of the people.
Trump." See, his thing is like, well, when people like he didn't make this pandemic, and it's like make it political. No, dude, I personally think Trump did make it because the thing is, even if Trump knew something or not about it, or he ignored it, he's the commander in chief. He's the people. He's what the people are looking forward to, bad or good. He is still our leader as a country. He is the face of the United States, and what the people of the United States are going to do, they're going to look to him for it. And that was the thing. This dude ignored it, and he didn't take responsibility to say anything upon it. It's like the Black Lives Matter things and the police brutality. This guy is not saying anything of it. So what the problem? What's going to happen? Most people are going to sincerely think and make
I
it
mean,
political.
he
And
tried.
he tried, but it was just stupid. Like it comes back to the point where it's like, how the fuck are you going to say something about, was it George Floyd, about him probably looking upon, you can say he's looking upon us down on heaven, looking at all the good work he did. And the good work he did, motherfucker, nothing has happened. There's still police brutality against people of color, and it's continuing to happen. And this is why Black Lives
That
Matter was created.
you you are right. You are right. But there is a movement going on secretly. And I don't know if I should keep this on the podcast. Maybe I might not. But I don't know. I
It's
could
up to
show
you.
you. I could show you articles, countless articles, and it's. I find it. I don't know. It's how to. I mean, people look at it both ways, but there's numerous articles of police being killed every day, and it's in increasing numbers. Now, I believe that it's coming from two factors. One, it is coming from a heavy factor of I guess civilians fighting back, but more importantly, I think it's coming from what I believe. You're right. There is police brutality in this corrupt system, and there are good cops out there, and these bad cops are taking out the good cops to make sure that the bad cops stay in power. Um,
Training day.
yeah, so I do believe. Yeah, no, for real. I do believe that.
Or that new movie with Tyrese, Black and Blue, or some shit like
But
that.
but but what I'm saying, what I'm trying to point out about this is that the George Floyd thing that happened, for now, it's behind the scenes. Everything that's going on is behind the scenes.
Of
Um,
course,
I will tell
of
you,
course. It was,
George Floyd, if it George Floyd is going to ignite another. Do you know? Do you remember Chris Dorner? Yeah,
yeah.
yeah. He's. I feel like George. If it wasn't for George Floyd, we won't have the next Chris Dorner. And there's
It's
gonna be a
interesting.
cop. Yep. Go ahead.
I was gonna say it's interesting because I tell people Obama was no good at this as a Trump because I felt like and I seen that Obama did the same thing Trump did. There was a
Mm-hmm.
lot of racial things that going from police brutality to that shit that happened in Florida, even though
Mm-hmm.
that wasn't a police thing with that I think it was a Trayvon Martin thing,
Mm-hmm.
even though that wasn't a Florida thing, but that was literally a race thing. I felt like Obama really didn't speak about those things. Kind of just
Yeah.
like oh, I'm sorry. I know people on both sides are gonna hate me. Trump supporters are gonna be like, "Oh, you're just saying that because of blah blah blah." Then I'm literally roasting on Obama's presidency. So it's like,
Yeah.
hi, I love you people, but hey, come at me and see how that works out. Because I'm
Yeah.
like, it's kind of hard to come at me where I'm playing, as you said earlier, devil's advocate. You know what
You're
I'm saying?
definitely right. There's a lot of people out there that haven't really
I'm
done
pointing out the obvious
much
for both of these dudes.
for. I just want to give a quick shout out to Will Smith, who I saw in an interview for because he's playing a slave, in a recent movie, and he said that for a long time he avoided playing a slave, and I did notice that he said that he specifically made sure to take roles where he wasn't a typical African American, or he tried to basically take the lead role so that he could inspire and try to break that barrier of not seeing an African American in the lead role. So I feel like there's certain things that a human can do for black rights, kind of like what he did, uh maybe without rubbing it in your face. And I guess Obama can say that, oh, I was the first African American president, and I hope, hopefully there's going to be another one after me. But it's like, I mean,
I'll t- mhm.
he didn't really like acknowledge that part in him. You know what I mean? Like, I feel
Dude
like
was
maybe
humble.
if there was no, but I feel like maybe if there was like a Mexican president, maybe the Mexican president would carry for sure the Mexican flag, like a little Mexican flag, like on his or no, that would probably be against the law. Never mind. I will tell you this: if I get off on a tangent, or if I can add a tangent,
No,
there's one thing.
I'm loving it. I'm loving it where you're going. I'm
There's
loving
one
it
thing
you're
that I
going
there's one thing that I want to
because
criticize the
for someone
president.
for someone
Uh,
that's not that wasn't an Obama dude right now, you're kind of supporting them, and I'm like, whoa, I'm hearing what I'm hearing.
no, because he look. I'm not, everybody does good and everybody does bad. Like I said, the one thing that just pissed me off was the fact that he was elected on just the pre-existing idea that he was black. That was the
I
main,
agree with you.
and that's the only reason and then once he got into office, I realized, oh well, you're just a puppet because you're not really doing anything. I saw the way he treated certain situations, and I'm not talking about like the Zimmerman. I'm talking about like when there was and I don't want to sound like Trump by saying like the Iran deal, but there was a lot of situations where, or like the Saddam Hussein, or the Gaddafi, no, that was, oh, I'm mixing presidents up right now. But you get
The
what I'm saying. The
Saddam
Yeah,
was
Osama bin
was
Laden.
Bush.
Yeah, the
Osama
Osama
bin
bin Laden
Laden was
was Obama. There was all these things. There was all these things that could have been treated differently in situations. I'm not specifically, but the point is, um, the man can be criticized. But
they
I
both
think.
can be criticized, and the
Oh,
thing is with
real,
Obama and the thing is with Trump, there one is a less they're both criticized on both extreme matters
yeah,
because of that
real quick,
because of their belief.
to kind of get off on a tangent, or I don't know if this is going to be on a tangent. One thing that I will criticize, I guess this is maybe the first thing that I've actually really criticized the presidency for. But today they had I don't know if you saw the Goya promotion.
Yeah, I was speaking to my wife about that earlier, and I was kind of like, I'm like, I don't, I can't. I'll be honest.
That's
Care
against the
less.
law.
But yeah, I was like, I don't know, like the real nit grit and like the things that consist of it. But I'm like, isn't that against the law?
Yeah, you
No.
can't really. The president can't really stand behind a brand like that.
And I know how you are about brands.
Um. So I mean, I don't know. Like that really rubbed me the wrong way. I was like, "Whoa, buddy. Whoa, whoa, whoa." Like I'm all cool for like. Here's the thing. I guess it started on Twitter. You know what I mean? Where it's like on Twitter, his daughter said that Goya tastes good. Now I didn't see anything wrong with that. When his daughter says that a specific brand is good, hey, fuck it. Like that's what she thinks. But now
Like I'm,
when
I'm not, I'm not a fan of
but
Pepsi, but
now
hey, I think it tastes good. I'm not
but now
advocating for it.
but now when you have Trump sitting down at the Oval Office in the Oval desk with the same desk that Kennedy and Lincoln and they all sat in, and he's sitting there behind six products of the same company and telling you that this company is really good, it seems like that's a problem right there.
Well, it's like, see now, if I was to flip sides, it's funny because I feel like we just flipped all beliefs and ideals right now. Now, if he was holding, like, if his daughter, I seen a picture of his daughter holding up that one can. Now, she
Yeah,
was just eating the can.
that's
Yeah, that's
fine.
considered advertisement. And
That's
she said, "Oh
no.
man, I'm just eating this." Or
Okay,
well,
it's
no, it is
advertisement. It is
because if you got
advertisement, but
that
there's
brand,
nothing wrong with okay, but there's nothing wrong with her doing it. She's not the president.
hold
Yeah, she's
on,
the
but
president's daughter, but she's not the president. I don't care. I don't really care what the president. I don't care what that lady thinks. I care about what the president thinks. If I see the president eating a Goya can, I'm gonna go out and buy a Goya can. But if I see one of his little advisors, I'm not gonna. I don't care what the fuck. I don't really give a shit about his advisors
but the thing is,
or his
you just
daughter.
said it. The dude is basically
Do you think people give a
spokesperson
rat's ass
himself.
about Obama's daughters? Hell no, dude. I mean, yeah, some of them did. Some people cared about Michelle, but at the end of the day, everybody cared about Mary. We
A lot
all.
of cared about Michelle. I think she
I,
was like next to like Kennedy's wife. I think Michelle was just like one of those wives that was just like out
I,
there
I,
doing shit.
I will counter argue that one, and I will say that Ivanka is better, but it's just my opinion.
Ivanka is just she's a trophy, my dude.
Damn.
This coming from when they ran 2016, and she's repeating the shit
I'm
that
just.
Michelle Obama.
I'm.
I mean, that's not that. I'm gonna say this. That's not completely her fault, but
I'm
whoever the
just
son of a
saying.
bitch sat
Ivanka
there and
has.
copied the same speech,
Ivanka
but
has the
if she
American
was a
dream.
smart woman, she would have.
Ivanka is the American dream. Imagine you come from another country, you marry a man, and he becomes the president of the motherfucking United States. She won the
I
greatest lottery in the world.
don't know about all that. You're talking about women's rights. That chick is always behind her husband, like you in some fucking third world country, third world. Excuse my English. Third world country, and then you
Yeah.
got to follow them. I
Well, she
understand
did
every
come
other
from a third
president
world
you
country,
see.
so that's how women are in her country, dude. Like that's
Shit. But when you acclimate yourself into the American dream, as you just said, then you know you fucking got rights. Come on.
well, that goes back to like the Burger King video. I mean, once you acclimate to the American dream, you gotta do as the Romans do, you know? You
But you know
gotta
what's great about that? You know what's great about that American dream that we live so far in it?
what's
This
up?
shit's not based off of whites. The American dream consists off
Wait,
of
did you say it's
friend.
not based off riots?
No, white, white, white people,
Oh yeah,
or as
I think
certain
it's
white
not
people
based
like
off
to
riots.
integrate themselves as. No, I'm not really white. I'm like I love when Europeans are like, no, I'm not white. I'm European. I'm France. Dude, what's the color of your skin? Because I know if I see a black dude from France, he's black.
Yeah,
So, anyways, dude, this country is supposed to be a melting pot. This country was made from immigrants. This country was made from having fucking 31 flavors at your disposal.
yeah,
But the thing is, people don't
and
want to see it that way.
one of those flavors should be the option to not wear a mask.
That's totally true, but that's totally true and fine. But you have to question yourself where why are we at this standstill going back to that mass shit? Why are we at this standstill dealing with this virus compared to other countries?
We're on a standstill because
Because people don't want to work together. I'm sorry, dude. Once we go back to like fucking Italy and Spain and them that
I
were
mean,
really hit hard, and all these other countries, these people legitimately bunked down and just said, "Fuck it, let's do this." But now, them people once again, they're living their lives and enjoying their summers with low cases. Dude, we could be them people. It's just people have their fucking fingers so far up their ass. They gotta be right. It's not about being right. It's about trying to work together. And this is the point, going back to the whole premise of this
well,
podcast with me and
how
you.
how are people
It's
working
not about
differently?
me or you,
How are let's
me
talk
being
about how are
right.
people
It's
working
about
differently?
common ground.
Yeah. How do you think
Dude,
people are working differently?
how do you mean? What do you mean? Like, ask that question in a
Like,
better way, if you don't mind.
what are some examples in the world do you think that people are? What are some? Let me ask you this: what are some fights and some conflicts that you're seeing in the world?
Control.
Control.
I mean, I'm not gonna say. I mean, it's always control. This is what the conflict is. It's power. It's control. This
Mm-hmm.
is why we do what we do. It's not that many people out there, or it's the same with countries. I mean, it's control. It's about having some type of control or trying to be ahead of something. Why is that so
Yeah.
important? It's an ego. It's something that's built in you. It's in the human race. It's ego. It's either ego to always be right, always to be first, always to have this over this person, whatever
I.
it is. It comes back to the same shit. Because
Mhm.
what happens when you don't have race? What's the
What happens when
prejudice?
you don't what?
Have race? What's the prejudice between their people? It's classism. And it goes back to fuck the color of your skin now, because there's no such thing as the color of your skin. What happened if everybody was just white? Or I should say black and
Yeah.
gray. There's no things to say, oh fuck you, he's discriminating because I'm black, or fuck you, he's discriminating because I'm Hispanic or Asian or whatever. There's no fucking stereotype. The only thing we would have there is classism. Is basically say, oh, I make this amount of money. You make that much. I'm better than you.
Hmm.
And it just goes back to that. Then it goes back to ideals. But all of that shit goes rooted into control
Hmm.
to it. And that's mainly, it's nothing wrong with
I.
submitting.
Yeah.
I think there's nothing wrong with submitting. There, it's what my father has told me, and I know this is the same for many people. There's a, and this is what I'm saying about when people make this shit political and people make this about their rights. And I'm gonna say this, and this goes universal, in my opinion. My father tells me there's a time and place to fight that battle, and sometimes you just gotta let things be for what they're worth. You don't have to completely get on your hands and knees and get stuck in your ass with no Vaseline. But he's saying, let the dog bark. But if the dog is gonna bark and gets loose and attacks you, then that's when you start taking action and you might have to put this dog down or kill it or deal with the situation at hand.
Hmm.
And I think this is what's wrong with a lot of people here. It's just control. I think there's other countries that got a hold on what's going on with this virus. Um, you know,
Let me ask you this: what do you think the solution is, or where do you see the end game? You know, if
just
if this was if this was the
fucking
Avengers Infinity, what's your
Avengers
plan? What's
Infinity.
Thanos? Yeah, what's the gauntlet?
I'll tell you this, my dude. I'm a dark person. I'm a very dark person. If I had it my way, sincerely, personally, I'm just like Thanos. I think I think the people of the universe, mainly our universe, which is the United States, I think they're fucking ignorant. I think they're ignorant in so many ways, and I
Damn.
might get people. And people will probably tell me, well, if you think it's so fucking ignorant, or you think that we can do better, I already know the stupid ass rebuttals I would hear and see and read and whatever. Go to a different country. Well, it's not about going to a different country or getting to go somewhere else when I don't like it. It's about what this country is supposed to be built off of, and that's diplomacy. Let's talk about it. Let's work together. Let's try to figure something out together. Let's try to come to a common ground. But once again, that control, that ego, boost it up, and you get comments like that. Who's right? Who's wrong? Or you need to leave. It's a difference from trying to work something out than just being stupid. And that's what I think a lot of these people here are stupid. And a lot of people,
Whoa, you're gonna offend some people by calling them stupid, man.
it is what it is. Now, the question is, you can pick and choose to feel if you are one of those people I'm calling stupid. Because if you feel like you're not
True.
stupid, then
And
you have no worries that you're not
you got
stupid.
nothing to worry about.
But
Yep.
if you want to feed into that negative connotation of what is being said and not saying it in that positive light,
Okay.
but knowing that you're not that stupid person, then you the stupid motherfucker just to feed into it. You see how that goes?
No, you're right. You're right. You're right. You're right.
Like the life of a fucking lawyer. And that's true. So I think a lot of the people in this country is stupid. Now, if you want to associate yourself with being that stupid person, go ahead. You
Yeah.
basically just made yourself stupid. But I think that as a country, come on, man. We know what the United States stand for. Let's continue to lead that fucking example. Be the land of the free and land of this. Let's just cooperate and just do things. But if we feel like the government is doing more that they should be doing because of something of the pandemic, then I think we should take that up a notch and start fighting for what's right.
I
Now,
will.
once again,
I will say this: by the time you notice that you're supposed to be fighting back, it's going to be too late.
or the thing is, you could be picking a fight for something that you didn't have to pick a fight, and you just made something worse that should never escalate.
True.
Like, why have a war with a country that we didn't need to have a war with, and we divide ourselves even more?
True.
It goes both ways. You're telling the truth as much as I'm telling the truth. So it's like you see it anyway. But what is the lesser evil at the moment? What can you see? What's happening right now?
Lesser evil would be opening up the country.
Dude, I think we've already seen this. We've established this. We can open up the country, but now the question is, this was said not too long ago, along with the ideas of opening up the country. The country can be opened up. People want to see the country open up. I want to see the country open up because of economic. I got a family I have to feed. I see that. But the problem is, do you want to follow those guidelines to doing the little steps to continue to open up shit to make sure things we can get back to our norm, or are we just gonna fight against the current?
No. Well, what needs to happen is there needs to be precautions in these stores to protect humans. Humans don't have to protect themselves from the stores. It's the
See,
responsibility of
that's
these stores to protect the clients and the customers, but
and that's
it's not my
that's the thing with
responsibility. If should I walk around with slip resistant shoes at Target next time?
see, but that's the thing now, dude. That's the thing. A lot of these companies, a lot of these people, they believe, hey, no mask, no service.
Yeah, and guess what?
It's
You don't
kind
gotta
of,
shop there, which is why I
you
don't go to some places. I mean, there's some
you
places that for
you
sure I don't go to.
you don't. That's your God given rights. But now once again, now this is the great thing. Now you make it political when you want to be an ass. And you're like, well fuck you. I don't want to wear a mask, but I still want to shop here. It's my God given right to shop here, but I don't want to wear a mask. It's like, dude, it's just something that's this incorporated. Once again, it goes back to this precaution. It's like, nigga, you know, oh my God, I said the N word. Now you know I'm gonna look wrong up. Now you know, gotta
Yeah.
bleep that out. Oh, what the hell, whatever. But you know, you walking into a place, as you commented to me, you're floating around with HIV, floating around. You floating around, you going, it's like you
Yep.
gonna decide to have sex with a guy or a woman that have AIDS.
Mhm.
Okay, you know in that place might have AIDS, that person might have AIDS.
Mhm.
But the question is that your mask is your condom. Put your condom on, dude. Nah, fuck that. I ain't gonna wear no condom. And all of a sudden, oh shit, nigga, I'm bleeding. Oh
Yeah.
my God, what's going on? I got HIV. Hey, maybe you won't,
I
maybe
will
you're
say
not, but
this. I have
there's a possibility of you getting it now.
I
That's
have
all it is.
I have a relative who recently was diagnosed with HIV. You don't know this relative, um, but she was diagnosed with HIV, and having a conversation um, with her, not with her directly, but with some of her relatives herself, like the closer relatives to her. They claim that she didn't get HIV through sex because she's not that sexually active. So the point that I was going to make is, and I do remember working at the dental office. Once in a while, we would have these classes that kind of teach you like CPR and how to do like certain situations. So we would go to the dental office like on a Saturday after, and like after they would teach us like all these things. And one of the things that they did tell us is, one, people are nasty as fuck, and they will not tell you that they have either herpes, HIV, or whatever disease that they have. So it's like a
It's
lot of times you can go to Target, swipe your credit card in 2009 and get herpes from the fucking terminal there.
but the question is, these are diseases and virus that we sincerely do have a hell of a major grasp on versus COVID-19, where people are still guessing. Well, not even guessing; they're still not for
I
sure
think I
on
think we
how
do have
how
a
how things
grasp
are.
on
I think we got a better or
coronaviruses
better. I think we
because
got a
corona,
better grasp on it, but there's still some things to be learned about it
of course, and
versus some.
what stopped us from learning when they closed down the country.
Well, the
When you
thing
closed
is,
down the country,
but
nobody did
the, the,
research.
the thing the thing is, that's like saying, well, we should have let fucking Ebola run wild
We
when
did.
that got said. No, we didn't.
We
No,
didn't
we
shut
didn't.
down the country for Ebola.
You know why? Unlike
Cause there's no
unlike
such
unlike
thing
this
as wearing a mask that's gonna help a disease stop
un
spreading. Have you seen the
so
people
no
that work
no
at
no
the
no no no
CDC?
no
They
no.
got full hazmat suits. How is a mask gonna
Un
help?
unlike because they're different type of diseases, dude. You're trying to put one disease in a bowl with others. Certain disease, once again, you can't just put every fucking disease in the same category. This is why people are so fucking stupid. You cannot compare COVID-19 or, as other people call it, coronavirus, with AIDS or Ebola, because you know what? These things are categorized in their own thing, and some of them are just more deadly than the other.
That's like
Thing is,
saying you can't categorize every human as a human. And every human is different. You have African Americans who are a little bit more violent because they've been oppressed. You have whites that feel a little bit more what is it called?
entitled,
Entitled.
entitled,
You have
privilege.
yeah, you have you know what I mean? Like that's basically what you're saying, that all humans are not the same. And I'm telling you, no, they actually are pretty much the same. The only difference is maybe how they transmit, but for the most part they're the same.
No,
I mean,
there's
one
a
is
difference.
airborne and one is
There's
like,
there's a Once
yeah.
again, there's a difference. You're talking about sicknesses that kill it versus a race of people. Like you're literally just trying to find ways it's different. No, it's make it the same. No, it's not. Once
Hmm.
again, how is dude, AIDS is through what? Blood? I'm correct. Blood and saliva at the
Yeah.
most.
Hmm.
See, you know how to
No,
put a
no,
cap on
no,
it.
no. AIDS is not through saliva, but it is through blood.
I mean, yeah, excuse me, I would have got yelled at
No,
as I
herpes.
remember in health
You can
class.
get herpes through saliva.
Yeah, kissing. I mean, look at that Family Guy episode when Brian gave Stewie herpes.
Yeah.
But the thing is, it's like we know how this stuff is transmitted, but we also know how to deal with it, not deal with it. And the thing was, but herpes
Which
is
I
is
don't know.
less dangerous than AIDS.
Of
AIDS will
course,
fuck
I don't want
you
to.
up.
That's why I don't want to compare. I don't want to compare. What is it called? Herpes to COVID.
But the thing
I
is,
would much likely compare
you're.
HIV. I would much likely compare HIV to COVID,
But
which
I'll
they
tell you
are
this:
in the same infectious disaise categories. And I do
you
agree
are
with
right
the fact that
because
more people have
you're
died
right.
from HIV than COVID. You know what I mean? So I'm trying to figure out exactly where
But the problem is like this: you're doing what people do with box office numbers of today and 20 years ago. You're talking about something that happened in that
I'm a
only
numbers
wrote
guy. I'm a numbers guy
you,
at the end of the day.
and this is why people, if you're a number guy, you should know this. When people are like, well, this and that movie made more than, oh,
Yeah.
fucking Star Wars made more, fucking Force Awakens made more than New Hope. Well,
Yeah.
no shit, Sherlock. It's like, and some people are like, yeah, yeah, well, that's the better movie. No, you dumb fuck. It made money because of different time periods, different costs to go to the movies.
Hmm.
Man, a fucking movie, I don't know how much a ticket was back then when A New Hope first came out,
Yeah, there weren't
but
that
you
many
look at,
theaters.
exactly, and then you look at, dude, anybody go to a fucking theater, and then and how much you paying? You're not
Hmm.
paying 5, 6, 7, or even $2, $3 to go to a movie theater now. My dude, you're paying about $25 to the maximum of $16, depending in which state or city you are. Because I found that it was cheaper to go to a movie theater in Vegas than it is in California. Or hey, you go to an AMC, you're paying automatically a fat fee of $20 versus going to Pacific Theaters or ArcLight, which are the same company, those two, 16.50 or $18 for the food. And that's the thing. Your numbers, hey, HIV was really looked upon as, I don't know when, but I'm assuming the 80s, was looked upon, and those numbers build up on how
Yeah, it
much.
was in '81.
Now we're talking about a virus to a sickness, where we're seeing numbers within not even the year, but honestly, it could be even more due to we really don't know how long this shit has been lingering. Going by to my fucking experience in January, my experience about this, and why I think to myself, I probably had COVID-19. And I'll tell you this: in January, I felt the worst. I don't get vaccines. I don't get none of that shit. I've only had certain vaccines due to protecting my son from when he was born. And that was it. That was my God given right and right to do that. I didn't have to, but I did. But the thing is, I don't take flu vaccines. So for me, but I understand the reasons why for vaccines in its own shape and form. It's another talk. But anyways, I was sick in January. I was sick for about 2 weeks. Really fucked up, dude. This is the most I've ever been sick in my whole entire 29 years being on this planet. And I've had the flu before. I've had certain things before. And you know what? It's the worst I've ever felt. My wife would tell you I did not get out of bed for almost a week. Only time I got out of bed for that whole week was just to go to the bathroom. It was horrific. I can barely remember. It was just bad. And you know what? I was weak. It was like flu-like symptoms. I had cold chills for several days. I was sweating up. I was fighting a fever of like 103. It didn't get to like 105, but that's where it stood. And I was fighting it
Hmm.
really hard. And it hurt for me to take a shower, dude. I love showers. I love being clean, but it hurt.
Yeah.
I didn't eat. I didn't do anything. After that, that was the first cycle. Going on to the second week, I was trying to go back to work. My supervisor at the time saying, "You got to go home." Because you know what? My immune system was so fucked up. I was still fighting it. I started like a nasty cough in the
Hmm.
midweek, and I took that cough for a while because one of symptoms for COVID is like having a dry cough, and I had a dry cough. I had a hard time breathing, dude. It was really bad. And on top of that, I had this cough for like almost 3 weeks plus, maybe. Um, and I would have instances where I would feel like I was having cold sweats in a week. My hands they broke out in rash, dude. Like my hands broke out in hives.
Damn.
And I'm not allergic to anything. And I'll tell you this. I'll tell you this. Right now, I
Hmm.
don't feel the way I felt before I got sick. Like I feel like there's been some damage done. This is why I have this weird feeling that I possibly have it. I mean, I've got tested once before for COVID,
Did you get
about a
tested
month.
in the sense of like if you had it before? There's ways to check.
No, I haven't done that. I just got the general testing at the moment
Yeah.
because my wife was curious and she wanted me, my son, and her to get toasted.
Nice.
Test.
Subway sandwich.
No, I was thinking about toasting in a different way. Those days are over with. Um, for now, only in occasions. Done
Damn.
blind. Anyways, um, we got tested. Everything came out negative for all three of us. But the idea was just that I possibly could have. I'll tell you this. Once in a while, I do have trouble. Like
Mhm.
I feel like I still do kind of feel like I have short of breath. I'm always checking my phone because my phone has one of those things where it rates your stress level, your breathing level, and
Mhm.
so I'm very paranoid because of all this shit now, and I check it. And the thing is, like in my chest where my lungs is at, it doesn't feel right. It sincerely does not feel right,
Yeah.
and I feel like I've been having little complications here and there. And these are just things that are kind of like hand in hand with what goes along with COVID. And I sincerely don't feel right, and I sincerely thought I did have it. And on top of that, I had other coworkers at the same time get sick between a day or two. Like my job caught hell for about almost a whole month because a lot of us just was like splat. We couldn't do anything. We were just crippled.
You guys were all sick.
Yeah, and the worst one,
Damn.
my coworker, my other coworker, he was out for legitly fucking 2 months.
Sounds like y'all had it.
Exactly. And it's interesting because all of us right now, it's only three of us right now. They literally fired most everybody in my department, and because of COVID and for stupid reasons.
Mhm.
And this thing, well, I shouldn't say stupid reasons, but reasons to survive to keep their company afloat. Um,
Your business, your company.
the company I work for, it's not mine. I'm not gonna be like the Burger King guy.
Oh.
The company I work for, stupid fuck.
And then, uh-huh.
Unless you're a franchise owner, you ain't owning shit. I mean, you still really don't own it because you still got to give a portion out to the big person that's really in charge
Yeah.
of fucking the company.
At the end
But
of the day, he was just a manager.
fucking idiot. Um, but in that sense, it's just like, uh, yeah, a lot of us felt it. So I wouldn't be surprised that a lot of us did catch COVID early on in January before it became really serious in March. But I can tell you, I'm not going to say it really was because I don't know. But it literally was on that line of COVID, and we spoke about this. Maybe I'm immune to it now, maybe I'm not. But there's been reports people recatching it,
Mhm.
and yeah, I've sincerely thought that I've done it because not too long ago, my wife and my son were sharing somewhat the same symptoms, and I'm nervous right now that the shit I was telling you about my daycare lady.
Yeah.
I'm damn sure I'm hoping like hell it's not because
I mean,
I got preconditions on being anemic. I mean, not anemic,
you're
pre-diabetic,
pre-diabetic.
and
Mars.
I have sleep apnea. So
Yeah.
I can't be full blown exposed to that because if I'm not properly breathing when I'm sleeping as it is now, how do I survive trying to breathe when having full blown COVID?
Yeah.
And my kid, immune system is not up there either. So I can't afford my kid to get COVID. And this is where it goes back to my coworker saying this is an emergency. To, it is and isn't an emergency. And for me, it's an emergency because I got people I love and care for.
Yeah.
And I like being a father and I want to be there to see my kid grow up. And that'd be the only thing I would regret leaving this earth today is not getting to see him do something with himself. And that's what scares me. That's what scares me with COVID right now. Hoax or not, I don't want to take that risk. And I love my family. And I would never want to leave that burden of my wife have to tackle dealing with of being on only parent just for my son. And beyond that, I would love to be there with my wife. I don't want this to be a case where he loses his parents due to a what if
Yeah.
situation or a hoax. I'm just saying, and I just wish a lot of people would be a little bit more, not a little bit, but be more compassionate to the possibilities of what other people may have to go through. And that's why I said cut the bullshit. and everybody has their thumb stuck up their ass. And you know what? And I'm gonna tell you, I really appreciate that because as we talk about doing this podcast now, even though you call it the flu at times, but you know what makes us good friends on that level is that you do respect my wishes on that. And we're doing this podcast, Viva is being recorded
Yeah.
through a mic. I'm on and on the phone, and you're doing your thing there. Which I would love to be right there and start doing some video shit with you,
Yeah.
really getting our faces out there. But you respect that, and I
Yeah.
really
Yeah.
do appreciate you, and I love you for it, and I thank you for it. You know, even though you have a whole total different perspective on it,
Perspective. Yeah.
and you know what, you respect that, and I think we need more of that, regardless to how our thing is. Be more compassionate for one another, and I
Yeah.
appreciate that. And thanks, man. I can't
Yeah. No problem.
get that
Yeah.
more out.
Yeah. I just try to understand everything, and try to um basically understand both sides, I guess. But you can still have your opinion. You can still have your cake and eat it too. Is that how they say it? I don't know how they say it, but
I don't know. It sounds decent to me.
yeah. Um, and I mean, like one thing that I do like for sure, I like hearing my own devil's advocate. Like I like to hear my other side because that other side I always feel like there's always information hidden into it. Like there's always like I don't know. It's weird. Like I don't know where that comes from, but for sure I like looking at both sides of things and just trying to see like where it comes from in a weird
Beyond
way.
all, beyond all the bullshit, you and me are basically just saying we like to see, we like to reflect upon the shit we think was right. That's possibly not right.
Yeah,
Be wrong, and there's nothing wrong with that.
I definitely feel though I've been reflecting a lot, and with recent times I feel like I'm starting now to be more vocal. Because I feel like I've spent too much time reflecting, or I spent at least for a minute I was reflecting and not enough talking. And recently I just feel like I've been talking a lot more. But yeah, I mean, hopefully with this podcast we double down on that, and you know get our opinions out there or our thoughts.
Yeah,
All right. Well, I think that's about wraps up
but
this episode, right?
yeah, it is